thank you everyone for coming out today on this important day for us. We are here to honor a man whose name is almost a household word in Glendale, and it's recognized at the county, the state, and the federal level as well. Larry was a longtime city council member. He was elected to the Glendale City Council in 1983 and served for a total of 16 years, including 4 terms as Glendale's mayor. The next line reads that it's a record that still stands today. I know Dave Weaver is in the audience. And Dave, you're getting close. How many years? 15 years. And I know you two like to kid about that whenever you got together. Larry was one of California's most respected leaders, and his public service was recognized by Governor and later President Ronald Reagan, President George Bush, Governor George Deukmejian, Governor Pete Wilson, and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has an extensive list of accomplishments, but what was really important to Larry, and what we were most proud of, are the contributions to the city of Glendale in his area of transportation. He was a staunch supporter of public transportation, and while on the Glendale City Council, he was very instrumental in the startup of the city's B-Line system. In addition to his support of the B-Line, he earned an impressive background of serving on local and national levels in the area of transportation, highways, and airports for over 30 years, including trains. Larry was on the Metrolink board. Some of his more notable appointments included serving on the National Highway Safety Commission, the LA County MTA, and most recently as a member of the State of California's Transportation Commission. He was very proud of that. I'd like those on the commission here today to let you know that was really one of his most proud badges that he wore, right next to his City of Glendale lapel pin. When Larry was on the MTA board, he was very involved in a number of traffic and transportation grants that were awarded to Glendale, which benefited our signal systems, our transit operations, and our transit center. He was very instrumental while on the CTC in obtaining a $16 million grant for the Fairmont Bridge flyover project, which goes over the railroad tracks into the Disney complex, essentially, and another $3.3 million in Proposition 1B monies for the upgrade and development of the smart traffic corridors on Brand Boulevard, Glendale Avenue, Colorado, Verdugo Road, and San Fernando Road. But this building right here is perhaps one of his most significant contributions. He played a crucial role in securing the funding and the fund exchanges that were necessary to purchase and refurbish this train station into the current Glendale Transportation Center. Therefore, it's only fitting that today we dedicate this transportation center and rename it the Larry Zarian Transportation Center. Since the transportation industry is so filled with jargons and acronyms, I think we can shorten that to call it the ZTC. It's got a certain ring to it.
It's always hard to say goodbye, and this community has certainly been having its difficult time saying goodbye to Larry Zarian, and we know that by the number of commemorative events that have been happening around Glendale to celebrate Larry's life. I know that I've been to a few of them, my husband's been to some, and I've never seen anything like that in the city of Glendale. And now with this new train station dedication, we don't have to say goodbye to Larry, because every time someone comes to Glendale by rail or by bus, they're going to be greeted by Larry Zarian. And that's truly the way that I feel. And for me, Larry was really a mayor's mayor. He treated me with respect from the moment I announced I was running for office, and when I was lucky enough to be elected, he became a true mentor. Someone who always was willing to lend an ear, who felt, who had been there, who knows what I had been going through, who always had his own opinions, but would always say that this is my opinion and you can feel differently. I just want to let you know how I feel, without ever trying to force his opinions on me. He was always incredibly respectful to my husband, who, by the way, adored Larry Zarian. And I'd say, first and foremost, he was always a consummate gentleman. and a wonderful representative for the city. And I am so proud that now people who enter this city and leave this city will be greeted by Larry Zarian each and every day. What a fitting tribute, and I am so proud to be here today to help dedicate this station. Thank you so much.
I'm really pleased to join all of you here today because this is such a special occasion. We're dedicating this wonderful transportation center to a wonderful, wonderful person. And, you know, Larry was that collaborative person. He was a team player and a great communicator. And we all know that through his forum. And he really emphasized the importance of public policy and was an outstanding public servant. I cannot think of anyone more deserving than Larry Zarian to have this transportation center named after him today. And I know that after all the speakers, we will all be sharing flags to be flying over this wonderful tribute to a wonderful man. So thank you very much.
What I loved about Larry is this. Larry is about getting things done. And he cared very deeply for this community, and he fought hard for funds and for resources. We see examples of it here in the Fairmont flyover bridge. If any of you have been on that, that's a lot of Larry's love and sweat in that. And the I-5 projects, Larry was there, and we always talked about how we were going to do that. But Larry was also an advocate for Southern California and transportation in general. Larry was someone who always did what he thought was right. He'd listen, he'd consider it, and then he'd do what he thought he should do. And so I'm very pleased to be here and to share this. I know Larry is looking down on this, smiling, enjoying this, a little upset because we started late, but I think he'll forgive us. But to see everybody come together and celebrate his legacy, his life that'll live on in this station and in hundreds of projects in Southern California and Northern California. And with me today are some fellow colleagues from the Commission who have traveled, some from great distances. Commissioner Jim Kilmette, who came from San Francisco today, Commissioner Joe Tavallone from Riverside, who also served with Commissioner Zarian, and our Executive Director, Bimla Reinhardt. We're here as commissioners just to express our sincere gratitude for Larry's service, our sorrow at the loss, and our hope that his legacy will long be remembered at this beautiful facility in the years ahead. Thank you very much.
And so I wanted to be here just to say to the family, he was a rare person who had such a wonderful, nurturing family and did so much as a civic-minded person. And I think it's a standard that we in public service should all aspire to, that you can be a wonderful family man and a wonderful public servant for all of the right reasons and be kind to those who come after you. And so I just have tremendous respect, and as being one of three boys, when I saw the picture at the memorial service of Larry and his sons, it made me think about my brothers and my family as well. So I just wanted to say God bless to the family. It's wonderful to see this great station. My daughter used it to go back to college after Thanksgiving, so many people will continue to use this legacy and just appreciate everything that Larry did in the great city of Glendale for recognizing it. And God bless and thank you.
Right. Well, I've known Larry for about 50 years. I mean, a long time, half a century. And we served on many of the presidential delegations at the national conventions for President Reagan and President Bush and President Bush Jr., along with involved with the Nixon's campaign and involved with Nixon opening up China with that very historic visit, which he had done. And Larry's love was really the community and people. I think, did Larry talk in his sleep? Was he emceeing in his sleep? I mean, this is one of the biggest losses to Glendale, because whatever event there would be, Larry was the master of ceremonies. Our Memorial Day program, that is really the Memorial Larry Zarian program, and the others as well. His television show, his love for the community issues, being involved. He loved his tenure on the Transportation Commission. He loved to be involved, and he was nonstop. I mean, he was really the energized bunny. That battery never ran out. He was just go, 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 go. But our love is with the family, and we were always there for you, just as Larry was always there for us, and we just want to say thank you.
Churchill once said, everything that needs to be said has been said, but not everyone has said it. So I'm going to take a few seconds to say a few words about Larry. Everything that's been said about Larry is absolutely true. If I hadn't known he was a Republican, I wouldn't have known he was a Republican, because he was really, when it came to the issues of the region, completely nonpartisan. His interests were the interests of the county and of transportation and of his own city of Glendale. And it's a real tribute when you know somebody, but you can't really exactly pinpoint what his partisan politics might be. And Larry was that kind of a person when we engaged on the issues of transportation. When I think of Larry Zarian, I think of a happy warrior. He had an enthusiasm for the issues of transportation, highway transportation, mass public transportation, buses, rail, the whole panoply of options that we had. Larry was an enthusiastic advocate. It wasn't a job for him. This was an avocation. This is something he loved to do. And so when we lost him, Los Angeles County, the MTA, the city of Glendale, the state of California lost a giant. And he will be remembered as a giant, a great citizen of this state and of this community. Thank you.
In my time in transportation, I chaired a committee in Sacramento for a couple of years and at the MTA. Larry was somebody who was always concerned with doing the right thing. And Dario told a story that I was also going to mention because it stands, one, because it's sort of recent, but it also stands out in a way that not just summarizes who Larry was as a public servant, but who he was as an individual and what was in his heart. You know, it's hard casting votes in Sacramento or at the CTC or anywhere, particularly if you know that, you know, your side you may not be on the winning side, but especially if you know your appointing authority disagrees with you. And more often than not in politics today, we've all seen it, you know, everyone will acquiesce to what the appointing authority wants because the worst thing in the world somehow in people's minds would be losing that position. And we all know really it's not that tragic, but, you know, that's what goes along in people's minds. Larry, though, and, you know, he talked to Dario, I know he talked to me, he talked to a lot of people about that street in San Francisco that was so controversial on the project that Governor Schwarzenegger wanted. And Larry kept coming back to the same thing. He kept saying, I know I can vote for it if I have to, or because he wants to in order to keep on the commission, but I just can't sleep at night doing that. And, you know, and for Larry saying he can't sleep at night, I didn't think that was a line. I thought that Larry was standing up worrying about it because he was having that conflict that we all face at one point or another, and I think Larry did what most wouldn't do. You know, he didn't protect the appointment. He didn't protect his power. He didn't protect his status quo. He did what enabled him to sleep at night. And there is a great teaching in that for all of us. Larry was a man of integrity. He was a believer. He was somebody who wanted to spread the word about transportation, and he was always willing to be a resource to all of us. He will be greatly missed. His contributions, as Aura mentioned, and Zev and others, will make life a lot better in Southern California for a whole lot of people through the mobility he's created, through the pollution he's reduced, and through the general creation of a system here that we're sorely lacking. So I join you in honoring Larry, in missing Larry terribly, and knowing that the future is better for his being here and his contributions, even if personally we're all going to feel a little diminished by his loss. And to the family, my sincere condolences, and thank you for sharing them with us for all those years. We appreciate that.
It's often said to measure a man is not how how he reacts with the most of us, but how he reacts with the least of us as well. And as a staff member, Larry was one of those guys that would reach out to all of us, above and beyond, backwards and forwards, and work with us as we needed it. And maybe some of us needed a little more guidance than others, but I definitely felt that hand of Larry quite often, reaching back and giving me the guidance that I know so many of my friends in the city of Glendale at the staff members have also been a benefit from. From all of us that have had a chance to enjoy Larry, we appreciate so much your having shared this time with us. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa wasn't able to make it today, but he's always said many great things about Larry Zarian. Condolences to the family, and he wanted to present this certificate of the family. Whereas over the years, Larry's distinguished public service has been recognized by a number of elected officials from Governor and President Ronald Reagan, President George H. Bush, George Deukmejian, and Governor Pete Wilson. And now, therefore, I, Antonio Villaraigosa, Mayor of the City of Los Angeles, now hereby recognize Larry Zarian. May his spirit and legacy be endured forever.
Good afternoon. I am honored to be here today on behalf of Congressman Adam Schiff, and I would like to express the Congressman's continuing condolences to the entire Zarian family. We lost a great champion for our community, state, and nation, and if anyone had the good fortune to meet Larry, they would know that he was smart, hardworking, personable, knowledgeable, and deeply committed to the city of Glendale. On that note, I would like to present to the Zarian family this flag which was flown over the U.S. Capitol on November 17th in honor of Larry's lifelong dedication to public service and commitment to the betterment of the greater Glendale community, and of course for his efforts at improving public transportation statewide. Thank you.
I too have a flag, state of California, to present to members of the family that has flown over the state capitol.
It's a very fitting tribute to Larry that we have so many dignitaries from outside of Glendale here to honor him. But he was first and foremost a son of Glendale and a father of Glendale. And on behalf of the city of Glendale, I'm very proud to present the Glendale City flag to the family.
Hello. On behalf of Assemblyman Mike Gatto, I'd like to present the Zarian family with a resolution honoring his life and his commitment to the city of Glendale. And on a personal note, I'd like to say that it's truly an honor to see an Armenian name throughout the city of Glendale. It gives motivation to other young Armenians to see all the links that we can achieve throughout the community. Thank you.
Also, on behalf of the California State Assembly, it's a certificate commemorating the renaming of this great station for the family. Truly an honor to see Larry's name be memorialized.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, I don't know what word I can think of sitting in the audience listening to the words that my dad has put into your hearts. It's amazing. I live here in Glendale, and I live up at the top of the hill, and I hear that train every night. My sons were here, and they heard that train, and it was an absolute delight for them. So knowing that this train station and the kindness of what the city of Glendale has done and honored guests have said about my father, to know that his legacy will go on for generations, generations, and generations. Thank you so much to everybody here and to the city of Glendale. From my dad.
I would talk to my dad every morning, and I would say, "Pop, what are you doing today?" And he'd say, "Oh, I'm meeting so-and-so." "What are you doing this afternoon, Dad?" "Oh, I'm having lunch with so-and-so." "What'd you do yesterday, Dad?" "Oh, I met so-and-so." So I love that today I get to put faces with all the names that I've heard. My dad loved the city of Glendale so much. He just did. One of the things that I loved to do with my dad the most is meet him for dinner and then go to the movies on Saturday night. So we would go to the Americana. The problem about going to the Americana with my dad is you didn't disco with my dad. You went with the gentleman that everybody wanted to say hello to. He would stop, he would say hello, and he would give you one-on-one time. And I would get to stand back and watch our father give the gift of himself. When I'm in Glendale and somebody says to me, "Are you Larry Zarian's son?" More so than ever, I am so proud to say yes. I am so proud that the three of us and our two nephews, your kids, get to have the Zarian name. Thank you so much for celebrating our father. This is such a proud moment for my family and such a proud moment for my dad. Thank you very much.
There are pros and cons about going last. That was fantastic. My God. I tell Vincent always to do what he does with his children, form your words. You did so, that was so good. Lawrence. I've said this a lot. Being Larry Zarian's son is an epic task. Your dad goes to work, you come home, you check in, and then you don't live together, and you just live your life and do what you do. It is such a privilege to hear how you took care of our dad. As he took care of you, you took care of him. He loved everything about what he did. He loved everything that stood for the metro in this city and in this state. And as Lawrence said and as Vincent said, to see everyone stand up and celebrate our father is such a gift to us. Thank you for everyone that has spoken so beautifully in regards to who our father has been, how he's touched your heart, and how you celebrate him. I'm also speaking on behalf of my aunt and my cousin and the rest of our family to know that he is celebrated and loved touches us. We were so thankful. And as Lawrence said, I will speak on behalf of all three of us, it is an absolute pleasure to be his child. Thank you for your time, and thank you for just loving our dad.